Hi, I'm Kyron at Body Escape Massage Center, and I'm going to show you 3 stretches today, one variation each. We're going to be doing the deltoid today. The deltoid is like the glutes of the upper body. It's the muscle over your shoulder, and for people who have well-defined deltoids, they kind of stick out like a little bit of a boulder or a bowling ball. There's 3 heads to your deltoid. Your anterior, which is on the front, and it helps you bring your arm up like that. Lateral, which brings your arm out to the side, and your rear, which brings your arm back and out to the side. The first stretch we're going to do is for your anterior, or the front. And there's also a muscle beneath it called the coracobrachialis, which is like a thin pencil type muscle that's underneath that. We'll stretch that muscle out as well. So what you want to do is get a vertical flat surface. You can use a doorway or a wall, and you're going to put your arm out to the side this way. And it's important that you keep your hand turned flat. If you turn your hand this way, it's going to stretch more of your pec. We're wanting to stretch our deltoid. So I'm going to keep my hand like I'm holding onto a motorcycle throttle, and put my hand against the wall and try to push my shoulder against it. Just like that. Try not to shrug your shoulder up. Keep it down, maybe a little bit of an angle. But it's important for you to keep your hand turned down like you're throttling a motorcycle, palm facing the floor. So that's your anterior deltoid. Another variation can be done sitting on the floor. So I'm going to sit on the floor, and I'm just sitting like I'm at the beach or something, or getting ready to go on a water slide. And what I like to do, because my wrists are kind of sensitive, is I like to take the pressure off my wrists by turning my hands down like that. So it seems like it will be more pressure on your wrists, but my hands are free, so there's not as much. And I just scoot down until I feel a stretch on my shoulders. That's another good way to stretch it. Anterior deltoid. Next stretch is the lateral head of your deltoid. And what I'm going to do for that one is, it's a very, very flexible muscle. It's hard to get leverage on it. What I'm going to do, and I'll just turn my back to the camera, hopefully you can hear me, is I'm going to reach as far across my body as I can. You do this that way with either side. Reach as far across your body as you can. Blech. And you're going to turn your hand down like your palm is facing the floor. Then I'm going to reach back with my other hand, and I'm just going to grab it so that it doesn't move. And then I'm going to straighten my arm. That's going to stretch the outside of my shoulder. And it's also going to stretch another muscle called the supraspinatus, which is below your trap, this muscle up here, this meaty muscle on top of your shoulder. There's a small one beneath that, kind of small like the coracobrachialis, but that muscle, if it has a trigger point, a lot of times radiates pain down into your deltoid, down into this area. It makes you feel like your deltoid is sore, but it's actually your supraspinatus. Supraspinatus also, it's difficult to raise your arm out to the side if that muscle has a trigger point in it. So it's good to stretch if you feel like it's your lateral deltoid. One more time, that stretch, I'll do the other side. I'm going to reach as far across my body as I can, and then I'm just going to straighten my arm. Just like that. And hold it. Another easy way to stretch it from the floor. I like to stretch my shoulders from the floor because you can get good leverage on them and your arms don't get tired. Is I'm going to lie down with my arm behind me. And I want to have it bent. I'll turn the other way so the camera can see. I'm going to have my arm behind me and have it bent. And then I just want to roll back so that the pressure is on my shoulder. Arm is bent, palm facing the ceiling. And I'm just rolling kind of towards my elbow. And the higher you raise your elbow towards your head, the more severe of a stretch it'll be on your anterior deltoid. This is that same stretch from the front. Bringing my hand on my side, elbow coming towards my head as much as I can stand, and then I just roll back, and that's a pretty good stretch. Last stretch, rear deltoid. Rear deltoid is going to be the last head along the back here. It's usually not well defined in most people. Beneath that muscle is another muscle that assists the action. It's another synergist for the rear deltoid called the infraspinatus. And the infraspinatus is located on your shoulder blade, but some of the fibers extend and attach onto your humerus right below your rear deltoid. So a lot of things that stretch the rear deltoid will also stretch the infraspinatus muscle. A lot of you have heard of the rotator cuff, and the rotator cuff, actually one of the tendons from the infraspinatus, helps make up the rotator cuff. External rotation, bringing your arm out like that, or resisting internal rotation, is what the infraspinatus does, and also in concert with the rear deltoid. Now to stretch that one, it's pretty easy, and most people have done this stretch. It's kind of called a chain breaker. They'll pull back and then bring in. When your arms are coming in this way, that's when the rear deltoid is going to stretch. Now to hold a static stretch, what I like to do is bring my forearm behind my elbow and pull that across my body. Make sure not to do that, trying to get better leverage. Keep your keep your scapula depressed. Don't let it ride up. And then bring your arm straight across your chest. Now that doesn't give you a great deal of leverage if you have kind of meaty muscles like I do, or if you're full in your chest, it's hard to get leverage. So you can also use the wall for this. And what I'll do for that, stick my arm straight out like I'm flying, and turn towards that arm. Sometimes you feel a pinch up through here, but if you're unable to find the space to get leverage from the floor, or you don't have the upper body strength to do it by pulling it towards you, this is a good alternative. You can also hold a door jamb and do that same thing if there's not a flat wall for you. Same stretch from the floor, and this is my favorite way to stretch it. I won't have to turn around for this one. You lay on the floor, you stick your arm out, don't turn your arm down flat. Keep your arm like you're holding a glass of water, and you're just going to turn towards that shoulder. It is important to not bend your elbow. If you bend your elbow, then you're going to come up off of your shoulder, and it's going to end up being a tricep stretch. Keep your arm straight. And you'll feel that stretch along the back of your shoulder and in your shoulder blade. If you don't, just adjust it. It may be that you haven't rolled far enough, and that's about as far as I can roll. My chest is almost facing flat on the floor to stretch this. So you have to have patience until you feel the stretch in that area of your body. 3 stretches: anterior deltoid, lateral deltoid, and posterior deltoid. We also stretch the coracobrachialis with the anterior deltoid. We stretch the supraspinatus with the lateral deltoid, and the infraspinatus with the rear deltoid. That's it. We'll see you next time for some stretches. I'm Kyron at Body Escape Massage Center.